So today I want to talk about misinformation. First, misinformation is a false or inaccurate information that is not intended to deceive, as opposed to disinformation, which is intended to deceive. It is a consequence of the fact that people frequently err or sometimes lie. One reason that misinformation is so widespread is that people tend to go with their gut instead of deliberating when evaluating a new piece of information. However, the main reason that misinformation is so dangerous is because of the continued influence effect, CIE, a psychological concept that shows that misinformation can often continue to influence people's thinking even after they accept a correction as true. This means that misinformation needs to be stopped at the source rather than afterwards. In a research paper called Psychological Drivers of Misinformation Belief and Its Resistance to Correction, published in Nature Review Psychology, several psychologists examined the comparative effectiveness of different methods of combating misinformation to address this issue: pre-bunking and debunking. Pre-bunking is a method that exposes people to weakened versions of misinformation before they encounter it, while debunking is just a correcting misinformation after exposure. Participants were divided into three groups: a pre-bunking group, who received training on how misinformation works before encountering it; debunking group, who get exposed to misinformation first and a correction second; and lastly, a control group, who received no intervention. These were the findings. First, the pre-bunking intervention significantly reduced participants' susceptibility to misinformation, while the debunking group was not successful, even though they still performed better than the control group. These findings support inoculation theory, suggesting that teaching people about misinformation tactics in advance acts like a vaccine against false beliefs. For a real-world example of the necessity of pre-bunking, we can look at the issue of HPV vaccines in Japan. After a misinformation campaign by Japanese anti-vaccine advocates, the Japanese government stopped recommending the HPV vaccine, which lowered the vaccination rate to almost 1%, causing an estimated 25,000 preventable cases of cervical cancer. The Japanese government has since reversed this stance, but the rate of HPV vaccinated has not increased to the necessary level. The debunking attempts of the Japanese government were inefficient, and it would have been better to engage in pre-bunking first. With pre-bunking techniques, misinformation could be stopped and people's lives could be saved.